me with the horn, 20. Keep making noise. Keep making noise. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're back. You should think this podcast, it's been a while since we've done one. It's been even longer since I had Drew on, but Drew's back. What's up, man?
Yeah, I'm back, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I could be better. Thing that bums me out is there's a whole lot of Winter Olympics going on right now.
That is a bummer.
And I hate the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, this is news to me. Winter Olympics, huh?
Yeah. The whole thing, I just don't get it. There's so many ridiculous events. You got things like the luge and skeleton, which are the same thing as far as I'm concerned. You said what's the difference between the two?
The difference between the two, I believe, is, stomach versus back sleepers. The one set prefers to lay on their stomach and go head first, while the other set lays on their back and go feet first.
Oh, I gotcha.
Either way, it's sledding.
The type of event that just sideways sleepers can never, ever get on board with.
No, that's too risky.
Do they go down the same, sled? Is it the same water slide for both teams?
The same frozen water slide? That's a good question. I would assume, but I don't know. And I would also assume the bobsled's different because it's like a giant thing. But since I don't watch any Winter Olympics, I couldn't tell you.
I know. I haven't caught a second of it, I don't think. Actually, I might have caught some figure skating for a second, but that was on accident. I think I was trying to catch snowboarding.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the figure skating is actually pretty entertaining, which kind of says a lot about the whole Olympics.
Did you see what they wear for figure skating? It is raunchy. It's straight. It's like a bikini bottom, like smaller than a bathing suit bottom, and they put a tiny skirt over it that doesn't cover anything.
I don't think they'd be cold, but whatever.
No, they're too busy zipping around and dancing, I guess. Another event that it's always bugged me, and I don't get it because I think it's ridiculous, is the biathlon.
Yes, the biathlon.
Two random, unrelated things, and they just paired them together and called it an Olympic sport.
Right, yeah. You're basically combining a sport that requires mild athleticism, which is, skiing? Cross-country skiing?
Cross-country skiing, yeah.
So walking in the snow, and then you're combining that with a hillbilly hobby of hunting, and that's what you get.
It's training Russian gangsters on drive-bys. It's like a Russian drive-by.
I think that's probably where it originated. And then they were like, yeah, let's throw it in. We can actually win in this.
It's we've already devoted 3 events to sledding. We might as well turn.
We can't do a 4th. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, no way. The sideways sleepers are not getting sideways sledding. But came up with a short list of other biathlon-like things with the whole, you mix a semi-athletic event with a hick hobby. And I came up with this for the Summer Olympics. I'll have to mix it in.
All right.
You got tetherball. So you play one-on-one tetherball, and however tetherball is scored, they just do that. And then as soon as it's wrapped all the way around, you sprint in opposite directions, and it's a chili cook-off.
Oh!
Each have a giant vat, a 5-gallon drum of chili, and you stir it, you throw in your seasoning, your peppers, and you get a certain amount of time to let it stew, and then you run right back to the tetherball court, and you go at it again.
I'm in on that. I'm in.
It's best of 3 on tetherball, and also a 1 to 10 scoring of your chili.
Nice.
So I have that for Summer Olympics. Another one was discus throw, and you throw the discus out into a very muddy field, and then you have to take a truck and drive it through the mud to go pick your discus back up, like a mudding.
Oh, nice.
Event, with big trucks.
Yeah, so you're combining the skill and the artistry of the discus with the just good time yeehawness of mud. I like that.
Oh yeah, it's a great time. Those are both things I was very excited about. And I had one other one. It was, I don't know how they measure swimming distances, but I don't know what's an appropriate distance. 400 meters, is that appropriate or is that ridiculous?
That seems long, but maybe.
Whatever a lap is,
that's probably
they'll do a lap, and whatever, they don't do it in a pool anymore. They do it in a river, And then on the edges of the river you have to noodle for catfish. You have to try to catch a catfish. So it's a mix of a race and also noodling for catfish.
I think that's probably the most faithful to our definition of these Olympic sports, combining a hick hobby with something mildly athletic.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's just swimming. We can all swim.
Yeah, exactly.
And then noodling. That's what hicks do.
And all three of those are all completely unrelated, all three of those pairings, just like the real biathlon.
Yeah.
So I think that those should be thrown in just for shits and gigs. And I think it'd be, give out a gold, silver, or bronze would be perfect.
And the most important thing is that both of us would watch any of those three things over the biathlon.
Any day of the week.
Yeah, the Olympics are already winning there.
Yeah. And better yet, these could be sponsored by Duck Dynasty. Like they could be the guys calling it.
Calling it. Get their hands on some more cash. I think they'd be in.
But yeah, we since we both dislike the Winter Olympics, we came up with some ideas as to how to make them better. Some of them are more feasible than others, but we wrote them down here. So, ways to make the Winter Olympics better. First, turn the whole thing into a beer Olympics.
Yes, this is my number one idea.
Oh, yeah. Any ideas on that? Like any clarification?
Well, for starters, you're going to need a lot of beer. That is that's the first thing. The advantages are it keeps you warm. It's cold. It's Winter Olympics. It makes the athletic skill much more important because you're talking about drunk athletes as opposed to, athletes hopped up on Adderall. In terms of the actual physics of it, I think we discussed basically you wouldn't change a thing about the event. You would just add beer to it. So it'd almost be like Beerio Kart, but you're going down a ice hill at 8 miles per hour.
Yeah, so roughly the same level of danger as Beerio Kart.
Right. You just do it outside. That's the difference.
Yeah. I say to add on to that is they add some new, better events that are beer related. So I had a hot cocoa chug and they turn it into, so you got teams of 5 to 10. Olympic athletes, I'm sure, can chug and turn this. It'd have to be 10. Otherwise, matches are going to be 20 seconds. But you line up flip cup style. You chug a mug of hot cocoa, and it's hot. I'm talking, it's real hot. So that's part of it. So part of it's you want to cool it down as fast as you can. A lot of quick blowing, cool it down, then you chug it, then you flip your mug. Meanwhile, everybody down the line, they're frantically blowing on the hot cocoa to calm it down. So that could be an event.
I like that. I like the strategy involved. Picking who goes first, who doesn't value the inside of their mouths,
Yeah.
Who has the strongest esophagus? You're going first.
Your leadoff batter just has a very numbed, just calloused mouth from years of training.
Yes.
There would have to be, of course, regulation temperatures for the start.
Oh, yeah, of course.
100 degrees Fahrenheit.
We could
probably
figure
more
out the
than
details.
That doesn't make sense, but we'll come up with that later. Another thing, is there or isn't there mini marshmallows inside of the hot cocoa?
This is almost like the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When you're introducing solids like that, I don't know. They'd have to go to the Olympic Commission or whatever. Some sort of panel.
Yeah, have them work it out.
The yay or nay on the marshmallows.
So that was one of our ideas, turned into a beer Olympics. The next one is makes a little more sense for the Summer Olympics, but we could try to tag it onto the winter. And this is, I would absolutely watch the Olympics every single year. I would have a countdown in my room if this is what they did to the Olympics. Is instead of sending, I don't know how many athletes we send, 4,000 athletes. Instead of sending 4,000 athletes, every country can only send 20 total people. Period. And that's it. And every single event, you have to pick from your 20 on your team to handle that event.
I like it. So you got, like you said, Michael Phelps playing some basketball, maybe.
Yeah. So we might select LeBron James to be on our overall team because not only does he specialize in one thing, basketball, but he's also an incredible athlete who could possibly play other events.
He's definitely our soccer goalie. He's going to be pretty much in everything.
Yeah, he could be on the relays, hurdles, everything.
Everything outside of gymnastics, we got Brown taking care of that.
And I'm going to make the assumption probably not swimming.
Probably not, although you never know. He takes up half the pool.
Yeah.
So just a couple of strokes and he's there.
But I mean, the U.S. team could send LeBron James, Michael Phelps. He could do all of our swimming. We could have Usain Bolt out there because he
not
played in
American.
the celebrity game, didn't he? He played the NBA celebrity game. He can ball.
He would just become a USA athlete.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I just wrote down athletes that I knew.
It's like, oh yeah, Usain Bolt, he's totally American.
Oh, whatever. That's another thing. Just scrap the whole nationals thing. It's just America gets everybody.
I like it.
Yeah.
Or how about just like any of the countries on the UN Security Council? So like just the important ones, and they can draft from the lesser countries.
I mean, Belarus doesn't really have a shot in anything anyways.
No, but if you want to shore up your, what was it, your biathlon, is that what they were placing in? If you want to shore up that event, you can head over there.
It would be really, really hard to implement this for the Winter Olympics because everything's so specialized.
Yeah, you wouldn't want LeBron James luging.
No. You don't want anybody other than
die.
Bodie Miller skiing.
Also could die. There's a lot of
Yeah.
possible death in the Winter Olympics. I never realized.
Yeah, there's a lot of dangers. A lot. Like people, and not only do they get hurt, but they're like up in a mountain when they get hurt and they have to be like helicoptered out of there.
They're going, what was it, 70 or 80 miles an hour down that mountain? Apparently the mountain in Sochi is like ridiculously dangerous and difficult.
That's what they were saying. And it's all, I don't want to say all, I know they have some artificial snow out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say, coming from having almost zero experience skiing, that artificial snow is worse than regular snow. I want to say it's icier.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that there's some because it's basically warm there, and we'll get to that later, but it's like, Honolulu out there. So they have to bring in the snow.
Yeah, it's warmer in Sochi right now than it is in Atlanta, where I live.
All right. Hot Atlanta.
Yeah,
right
and Atlanta, his nickname has hot in it. So what does that tell you about Sochi? All right, that was one of our ideas. Oh, if you wanted to build off that, you could have survivor mode Olympics, where every time you medal, so you only have your 20 athletes, but every time you medal, you can vote off other athletes, off of other teams, survivor style. You vote them right off the island.
This kind of helps get to the place where USA is the only country left. Because we would dominate and just vote everyone off.
Or what if there was some sort of inverse relationship with the population of your country, and it was like, if you're a huge country and you win a medal, you can vote off one guy, but if you're a tiny country, you can vote off 3 guys or something like that.
You can vote off 3 guys from someone else's team?
Yeah, like say, like Usain Bolt wins for his country, because as we made clear earlier, he is not American. He wins the sprints for Jamaica, and since Jamaica has such a small population, such a small pool to pull from, then they just go to the U.S. and they're like, all right, we're voting off LeBron James, Michael Phelps, and then they go to a different country and they vote someone else off.
I like that. I like that.
So,
you could also do something where you get to take, like
steal, like you can steal.
You could steal a half of what you could take or what you could get rid of. So if you could get rid of 4 athletes because of your size of your country, you could take 2 instead as your move, as your prize.
I like that.
Yeah.
And you just see LeBron James like on the Polish team.
Break my heart. Watching him up there, Polish national anthem playing, whatever that is.
By the end, it's just so mixed and matched. It just makes no sense anymore. It's
This is what we wanted. This is why we would watch.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. We're sick of the Olympics running smoothly.
Yeah, that's the main problem. It's too much. They've been doing it for too long. They got it down. I need to mix it up.
Which I guess with us being sick of them doing it well, that's actually one thing that Sochi is doing right. Is they're messing up so much.
Yeah.
First off, one thing that I want to say first that they're doing wrong that could be flipped into a thing that they're doing right is the fact that there's just massive amounts of surveillance everywhere.
Yep.
We've
just
got shower
cameras.
cams.
No
doorknobs.
Of course, the way this can be flipped into doing it right is that if they broadcasted that online for all of us
Yes.
as entertainment.
If we had like a 24/7 access and you could decide what camera you want, like hit a few buttons and like Bodie Miller shower cam, what's going on? Click. Like, things like that.
Definitely a mobile app worked in there. So that if like I'm on the bus and I want to see a naked skier, I can just kind of pull it up right then. Like,
No
that's
doubt.
key.
No doubt. Because in the players' village or the athletes' village, a lot of banging going on.
Whole lot of sex.
A lot of it. And we would have full access.
That's what we're interested in.
Yeah.
Like, we don't really care about the snow or the other countries unless they have hot girl athletes.
Which some of them do. And we want to see that with our mobile app.
Those Scandinavian countries, get them on the camera.
Basically, we're just trying to turn the Olympics into way more alcohol and way more TNA.
Yeah, we're coming across pretty crass here. I didn't realize.
A little bit.
Screw
Classy
pageantry
or
and
crass,
sports.
whatever.
We're going to beer in the tits.
Yeah. Usain Bolt's American, right?
Okay.
Jeez. So that's the thing that Sochi is doing wrong that they could turn into a right. Another thing Sochi is doing wrong is the temperature. What are they going to do? But maybe it wasn't the best idea to pick one of the most southern cities in Russia to do the Winter Olympics.
Because it wasn't Sochi that was granted the Olympics, it was Russia. Like, if the United States get granted the Winter Olympics, we don't say, okay, how about Miami?
Hold on, I don't know if that's true. Is that true? I thought cities did bids. I could be wrong, though.
They put together a proposal. But I mean, like, because I'm pretty sure in the United States, the cities make a proposal, and then doesn't the U.S. just submit one that they pick?
I don't know.
Because I thought I remember, like, Obama helping out the Chicago one, maybe before he was president even, and they didn't get picked. But it just so you're saying the committee actually picked Sochi, not just the Russians?
I'm not positive. I don't really know how that works, but it all really boils down to, like, why did you suggest Sochi then? Like,
whoever picked it, they shouldn't have picked it.
You have a massive country with most of it being barren tundra. Like, why did you pick one of your nicey, balmier weather cities?
99% of your country is covered in snow. So you pick the 1% where you have to make the snow. That makes sense.
Just brutal. I mean, maybe it's unusually warm right now. Maybe it's a little colder than usual, but I don't know. This seems like something that could have been planned for better.
Yeah.
One thing that Sochi is absolutely doing right is I love how they've worked in the packs of wild dogs that apparently run around the city.
Oh, yeah. That is definitely that. When we were talking improvements to the Olympics, that's top of the list right there.
That's number one. I want to say capture up all these dogs at the end, ship them to the next Olympics.
Just ship them.
Yeah. Breed them. I want meaner dogs for the next one, and we just drop them on the next Olympics. And that goes with the 24/7 access. Like, you can see what's going on outside the dorms, and like there's Apollo Anton Ono running away from a pack of dogs.
Yeah, I'm in on that. I'm totally in.
Maybe there's just one camera that just follows the dogs wherever they go.
Yeah. Maybe you keep them like in captivity for 4 years so they're kind of pissed, when you release them. Don't feed them much so they're hungry.
Yeah, I like this. This is something that Sochi's absolutely doing right.
That's true. They've improved the Olympics forever with their incompetence.
Yeah. But yeah, enough patriotism for one podcast. We are clearly not fans of the Winter Olympics.
No, not huge fans. But, we weren't just sitting there bitching about it. We gave them some useful suggestions that they could implement to make it better,
Exactly. It's not like we're just saying it stinks, fix it. We're saying this is why it stinks. Make these changes, and I'll tune in.
Yeah.
I'll get the mobile app.
I expect a thank you letter in the mail.
Yeah, from Vladimir Putin himself. Is his first name Vladimir?
Yeah, I think so.
I hope so. Anyway.
The Impaler.
Enough Olympics then. Want to do some NBA?
Sure do.
That's pretty much what we do best anyways. So, for a reminder, because Drew hasn't been on in a while, Drew, you're a Minnesota Timberwolves fan. This was supposed to be the year, or at least, a chance where we got to see everybody healthy and people had some high hopes. It hasn't really turned out as such. So, what's going on?
No. Well, it's
He's wiping
Awesome.
away tears. Give him a second.
um,
Dabbing his eyes.
lately the biggest issue has been injuries again. Have kind of crept back. Pekovic has been out for a few games. Kevin Martin just got hurt I think he broke his wrist maybe or sprained it. He's out indefinitely. Love's been on and off. He hit the court real hard a few games ago and hurt his back and head. And but that's just an excuse because even before that they were still bad, and I don't really know what's going on. Rubio, he can't shoot, which doesn't help, and that's vital because you need Peck on the block, you like Love on the elbow, and Kevin Martin kind of spacing the floor. And between Rubio and Corey Brewer not being able to shoot, there's just no spacing. And and they're playing in the West, which is also what it comes down to. Just an awesome conference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you got teams like the Suns are just out of nowhere. I mean, I think the Warriors are 8th right now, right?
Yeah, like some people are saying the Warriors are like a sleeper championship team. If they made a move or if they could figure out, like the
Right.
Harrison Barnes situation and make him a little more effective, that they could fight for a championship. This team is the 8th seed in the West.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is the Warriors. This is a legit basketball team that kills other teams routinely, and they're 8th in the West. So there's really no hope for the Timberwolves. Is where I was going with that. And the good, glass half full. If they don't make the playoffs this year, they keep their lottery pick, so that's good in a loaded draft. If they get in the playoffs, they lose it. But
Who does it go to again?
Phoenix, actually, that would be their 4th first-round pick if they got it.
Man.
So the other big issue with the Wolves is, well, there's two other big issues. One is Adelman. I think he definitely won't be back next year. He might even be gone this season, depending on what happens. I know his wife has been ill, and there's a situation going on there. And the second thing is the Kevin Love. If he wants, he can opt out, and next year would be his last year. So you could be talking about a Carmelo Anthony or a Darren Williams type trade happening this year or next year, where they're trying to bring in multiple picks, maybe a couple young players, whatever you can get for the first or second best power forward in the game. So that's something to keep your eyes on.
Man, that would be devastating to that team. I would
Yeah.
assume, obviously if you lose Love, that's by far your best player.
Yeah.
And honestly, you have more info on it, but I feel like nobody on that team is good except for Love. I think there's a lot of overrated players on that team.
Mm-hmm. Rubio. Very
Rubio
overrated.
for one, and that's becoming more and more mainstream. People
Kevin,
are finally seeing past his like awesome highlight reel passes and realizing that outside of 12 feet, he's really useless.
right. And the worst, just insult to injury, times 100. But David Kahn did enough to screw up my team. But when he signed Kevin Love to a lesser deal because he wanted to give that max deal to Rubio. And it's like, ever since that happened, Rubio's gotten worse and Love's gotten better. And it was so nearsighted. It was awful. And now, because of that, Love hates the Timberwolves and he's going to want to leave. And he can do it a year sooner. So, it's just, and I like watching Kevin Love. Obviously, he's a great player. But we're not winning. So seeing him leave for parts wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It's better than him walking away with nothing.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but you wanted to talk too about your hometown team or your ex-hometown team.
Yeah, we have a guy, my Pistons. We have a guy similar to Rubio who can't shoot worth a damn in Josh Smith, but at least the good thing about Rubio is he can't shoot and he doesn't shoot. Josh Smith can't shoot and he puts up just massive amounts of outside jumpers. And the thing is, they don't even like rim out. They like hit the side of the rim and go down or like hit the padding on the backboard. Like he misses drastically on his shots. So that's been a big part of our offense, is him just chucking up bricks. Brandon Jennings is just as herky-jerky and street ballish as he looked in Milwaukee. So he's been pretty much a bust. He also has a really ugly left-handed jumper. Andre Drummond has exploded into a beast, though.
The bright
so
side.
That's good. No, that's good news.
Here, the question for you. I was thinking about this the other day. We talked about him being on our fantasy teams. Just looking at his stats, he's the top 3 center in the NBA, is he not?
Statistically, or are you talking about overall right now?
Statistic, and I'm gonna differentiate between statistic impact and actual, like, team impact, because he can't shoot, which we've talked about before. So on the floor, he's not exactly a spacer or anything. But in terms of his statistical impact on the game, I mean, who outside of Dwight Howard, offensively and defensively, is who else is better, really? I mean, Hibbert is pretty much all defense. DeAndre Jordan's pretty much all rebound.
Rebounding.
Seriously.
That's a good question.
And it's not so much that Drummond's awesome, but the center position is just in free fall right now. I guess Marc Gasol I would put over Drummond, but
oh yeah, absolutely. Marc Gasol's a two-way player.
Yeah.
See, the thing is with Drummond is he's just so raw offensively, but he's also super raw defensively. Like he's routinely kind of out of position or a beat late on like on his rotations and stuff. So I don't know if I'd put him up. There are actually a handful of centers. Like if I had to win one game or if I had to win one series, there are definitely a handful of centers I would take over Drummond right now. But if I was building a team, I think Drummond might be the one I would take. Maybe
well, yeah, if you're
one.
talking about adding in youth, I would for sure pick him number 1. Is he 20 yet?
I don't know. He might still be 19. He
was so young. Yeah. But I'm just talking about he's top 10 or even 5 in rebounds.
Yeah, I think he's top 5.
He's got to be top 2 or 3 in offensive rebounding. He's top 5 or 10 in blocks. I mean, we're talking about the major statistics for centers. Once his scoring rounds out, you got yourself Dwight Howard, basically.
Yeah.
I think Dwight Howard.
At the very least, I think you have a Tyson Chandler.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say the thing about Dwight Howard that I don't ever see Drummond being that great at is Dwight Howard could hedge off his screens and do things defensively in the open court that I don't think Drummond will ever be able to do because he's a little too gumpy.
He is. He's a little too long.
His
but
hips
I
mean,
are big. Dwight Howard in his prime athletically was one of the most athletic players in history. So saying that he can't do that's not a knock on Drummond. That's really more of a compliment to Dwight. Just make that clear.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Drummond has been definitely a bright side or a bright spot on a otherwise dark team. Greg Monroe, his development has really plateaued or dropped off.
Mm-hmm.
The whole having 3 bigs, none of which that can space the floor, has pushed Josh Smith away from the basket where he's useless, and it's made it so it's too crammed for Greg Monroe to really have the impact that he's had in the past. So the whole team is just in disarray. We fired Mo Cheeks, replaced him with one of the assistant coaches who I didn't know by name when they announced him.
I had never heard of him either.
Yeah, I'm hoping they can make a run mid-season. I don't know if they can. I don't know how the contract thing works like that, so I don't know if they could go after a Lionel Hollins mid-season or a Stan Van Gundy. Or no, hold on. Which Van Gundy was with Howard? That was Stan Van Gundy, right?
Stan, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff is the broadcaster.
Right.
Well, I guess they both are now. But
if we could go after Stan Van, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice
terrible.
if they could make a splash with a name. Although I guess they kind of tried that with Mo Cheeks, and I don't know what happened there. But
how about a guy who's known for his coaching instead of his former playing?
I got a quick question for you. Quick hypothetical trade. Do you do Monroe and possibly a pick or maybe KCP for for Bradley Beal? Because I think I watch a lot of Beal too. I like him and Wall together, but he also has he's not exploded as much as people thought he would in his second year, and I think that might help both teams, that trade.
Yeah, one thing that was a little aside, you notice that Bradley Beal got the invite to try out for the U.S. team for the Olympics?
I did see that.
And
which
John
also
Wall
speaks...
didn't get an invite.
See, that's all positional, though. There are so many good point guards and, like, no two guards.
I know. That's just got to piss off John Wall, though.
Oh, yeah. Because
he knows he's eons better than Bradley Beal.
That's an awkward locker room right there.
Oh, yeah.
But,
but would I do that trade? Am I stuck with Josh Smith forever? Like, what thing is, I want to get rid of Josh Smith now.
Yeah.
I want to get rid of Josh Smith yesterday.
And you don't think that playing him at the 4 would help? You think he'd still be taking those 22-foot jumpers?
I think it would help, but...
Because that's even when the season started, I thought if you could play Josh Smith at the 4 and rotate in a big, you don't start all 3, you could have a pretty good team there. But playing him at the 3, that's not helpful.
You're just asking for him to step away from the basket.
Yeah.
You're asking for him to play outside of his comfort zone.
And I think he's a better defender at the 4 too.
Oh, he definitely is.
Where he can be closer to the rim.
Yeah, Greg Monroe has really quick hands and he gets steals, but he's not a rim protector. Mm-hmm. Statistically, like the metrics show that he's a bad rim protector. Yeah. But we don't necessarily need that because Drummond's right behind him.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. Since Monroe's been on the team his whole career, I feel like I have more loyalty to Monroe, so I would want to get rid of Josh Smith first. Plus, yeah. Monroe is still very young. I want to say Monroe's like 23 or 24.
Right, but I don't think Smith has much, if any, trade value, especially on the first year of a 4-year deal.
I know. So I guess what things I was looking for are, if we were going to trade him, we had to find a very specific suitor, and I kind of wrote about this in a blog article recently. You need to find someone who's absolutely desperate right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought possibly the Cavaliers might take him. They have a history of doing shitty, dumb things.
Depending on their new GM, yeah.
Yeah, but that was the one knock. I don't know how that new GM is going to work.
Yeah. If they're giving up on LeBron, they wouldn't mind the 4 years, I don't think.
I think they need to give up on LeBron. I don't think he's coming.
Oh, I think they should too, but who knows? We'll see. If they sign Deng, that means they gave up.
They're not going to sign Deng. I should say it the other way. Deng is not going to resign them.
There you go. Yeah.
Luol Deng, every single time you hear him talk, it's very clear he does not want to be in Cleveland.
The first game he got there, he was just talking shit about Waiters and Irving.
Yeah, he basically went to the first practice and then walked out, went to the media and was like, "You don't know how bad it is in here. This is brutal."
That's very true. I don't think he would take their money.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. So what if it was a Josh Smith for Luol Deng trade? The money works. It's NBA Trade Machine approved. I don't know how official that thing is, but it's approved. And it gives them an impact player at the same position, and then we can essentially just ditch that money. Because Dang wouldn't re-sign with us either. So he would just come play with us for a little bit, and he would leave, but we would start over.
So you're on that just get rid of Smith for good.
For good.
It's not really, we signed him straight up.
It was an experiment that failed.
Yeah, it's not really a net loss. They didn't give up anything to get him, so.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Just start over with that. Another team that I heard pop up recently, or another thing that was viable, was sending him to the Celtics for Jeff Green and possibly one of the crappy contracts that the Celtics have.
Gerald Wallace, probably.
Like Gerald Wallace, yeah.
I don't know if I'd do that if I'm the Pistons, though.
That's the thing, yeah. I don't want to do that.
We shouldn't. Josh Smith isn't useless. He's still an NBA starter.
Yeah.
Whereas getting Green and then Wallace for 3 or 4 years at $10 million, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, so I don't think I would do that one, but I think problem number one that I would want to address, or I would want addressed with this team, is getting rid of Josh Smith. I hate Brandon Jennings. We're stuck with him. It's just, I don't know why I talked myself into getting excited for this team. I don't know what, like, if you asked me to make, if a calendar year ago from today, you asked me to make a list of 10 players that I hate, Josh Smith and Brandon Jennings would have been on that list. And then the Pistons got them.
A year ago, even before?
A year ago, before the trade.
Wow.
Before I knew that they were coming here, I would have put both of those guys on like my least liked list. But then when my team traded for them, I suddenly talked myself into thinking that we were going to be good.
That's unfortunate. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to be good, but I thought they'd be exciting and they'd be different, which is nice. I mean, basically Detroit has been stuck in the Chauncey Billups hangover for 5 years.
Yeah.
We finally got rid of Prince, which kind of split with that era. So
about 4 years too late, but yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. So it's finally like, finally they're going in a different direction. They're bringing in kind of a young guy in Brandon Jennings and a proven guy in Smith. Yeah, whatever.
You know, they got two other big men to build around, young big guys, but
yeah.
They brought in the Italian League MVP.
What's that?
They brought in the Italian League MVP, who's been a complete useless. He's useless. I don't know if you remember a guy remember Walter Herman?
Yeah.
He reminds me of Walter Herman.
With the sick scoop shot. He used to pull the ball and just take off from the free throw line.
Yep. Every time he'd get it, he'd palm it, he'd put it way away from his body and just try to get to the rack.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Just rocking that sick flow.
Yep. You're right, he does look a lot like Tatomi.
Yeah.
The hair.
And
the whiteness.
They're equally terrible. So that also matches. Luigi Tatomi, though, would be probably a lock to make the Italian 20-man Olympic roster, though.
Oh, for sure. You can tell that guy's an athlete.
Oh, you can tell he can drink, too.
It's the
for the Beer Olympics.
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing. The two leading scorers for the Pistons are actually Jennings and Smith.
Yeah, I mean, they are.
They're not doing it efficiently. Oh my! Brandon Jennings is shooting 38% from the field. That is bad.
Yep. And I want to say Josh Smith is shooting like somewhere in the 20s from beyond the arc, and he still takes like 3 or 4 a game.
23%. Nice. Yeah. He's almost making 1 out of 4.
He shoots 4 a game.
I'm just saying, in terms of his percentage, he shoots almost 4, 3.5 a game.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
I can't believe Jennings is shooting 38%. That's like Rubio territory.
Uh-huh.
That is bad.
Yep. It's pretty brutal over here in Detroit, but whatever. I guess, hey, we got a championship 10 years ago, so we can always remember that.
Wow, that is a decade.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
Yeah. But I guess enough of those teams. Real quick before we wrap up, anything, because we were going to talk about the trade deadline for a sec. We'll put that off. And we'll talk about trade deadline after it occurs.
Sounds good to me.
Anything All-Star related you want to say before we kind of sign off here?
Well, outside of how terrible the Eastern team is compared to the West, which probably won't matter because they'll just play LeBron and George and Melo when it actually counts. And it'll just dissolve into probably LeBron v. Durant, or at least I hope it does. But
yeah, just everyone just off to the side. They could even just sit down if they wanted.
If they wanted to. I'd see a full court one-on-one game.
You were it's just middle of the game. They just started playing one-on-one half court. Like they started checking to each other at the top, and
that'd be so awesome.
Side. Just evolved into
that. You were mentioning that the slam dunk contest has some different rules.
Yeah, I don't know it exactly. Scholars maintain that nobody really knows the rules exactly. It's something like they're doing 2 teams, like dunk teams, and each team has 3 or 4 players. I forgot how many people are in the contest this year. And I want to say that, like say you're on team A and team B, one of the teams advances, and then it breaks down into like dunker versus dunker, I believe. I could be wrong though.
All I'm seeing here is that they have a freestyle round followed by a battle round, which sounds just like rap.
Is this a rap? Are they just rapping? I would tune in to an NBA freestyle battle so fast it would make my DVR throw up, dude.
That's our suggestion for them.
That's
Plus,
that, yeah.
you know it would be someone you never thought would be good at rapping. Would just be incredible. It's just some white bench warmer,
You know
just
who
coming out.
is actually claims to be a good rapper who says he's been doing it almost his whole life?
Who's that?
JJ Redick.
Really?
So maybe he's the dark horse.
Isn't he
And
from like
comes
West
out like
Virginia
M.
or something? Like
Yeah.
Hodunk? Huh?
Yeah, the hip hop capital of America. West Virginia or District 11, whatever. If you're a Hunger Games fan.
Wait a second. I don't know if this is real, but it says the freestyle round is just 90 seconds to dunk as many times as you can.
That's kind of sweet.
And then the judges declare which side all three from each side dunk at the same time. And then the judges decide who won that round. And then that was the freestyle round. In the battle round, each dunker from the East will go head to head against a dunker from the West, like you said. They'll pick winners for each head to head matchup. And the first conference to win 3 matchups are declared the champions. So there won't be one champion, it'll be a conference win.
All right, that's kind of cool. That's mixing it up at least. See,
Yeah.
why can't the Olympics be this flexible, where they just
Right.
mix it up every year?
Probably because of like tradition or some bullshit thing like that.
Whatever. But maybe it'll mix it up a little bit. Because if it was
Yeah.
up to me, I would do the dunk competition every 4 years or something like that. It's just too played out.
That's true. And then you wouldn't get repeat dunkers. It'd be fresh.
Yeah, you wouldn't have Nate Robinson win 3 years in a row
18
for just
years.
jumping over people.
But yeah, to answer your question from earlier, this is what I'm excited about for the All-Star weekend. I kind of want to see how this works. I'm also excited for next year's when hopefully Andrew Wiggins will be in it
Yeah, that'll be cool.
because he's a beast.
I think the thing I'm excited for is just tracking Damian Lillard across
each
all
event.
5 of them. Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty cool too.
seeing what he can do. I'd like to see him win a couple. I think he will. I think he has a legit shot to win the 3-point contest and a legit shot to win the skills competition. Is that the one where they dribble around the cones?
Yep.
Yeah, the skills competition.
Yeah, his competition in that is not very good. He's like the purest point guard in the bunch.
Dude, what kills him every time is that bounce pass.
Yeah, it really does. If you make that the first time, you're gonna win.
I also remember last year, the person that I picked to win it missed like 3 or 4 free throws to start. I think that's how you start, isn't it?
There's a free throw. Is it a 3-pointer or a free throw?
It might be a 3-pointer from the top. It's either a free throw or a 3-pointer from the top.
It's a 3-point because there's a layup in there too at some point, which is
At the
just
very
useless.
end. That's what
Yeah.
you finish with.
Okay.
But yeah, that can trip people up, and the bounce pass. That's what gets them every year.
Yeah, that bounce pass. I mean, I'm not saying I could do it, but I would hope that they could. Like,
Let me say this. If you missed the chest pass one, you should just be eliminated. You are an NBA point guard. You should be able to fire a chest pass 10 feet through a hoop.
I think that would be tough personally too. But I mean, I don't have any skills, so I suppose that's why. But I feel like I could judge the bounce pass a little easier. Maybe that's because I throw those more often than chest passes. But yeah,
You'd just be an expert, just like 10 in a row. You just ice them.
I would probably go through the legs behind my legs,
Oh,
just
yeah.
right through the hoop,
I
and then I
wouldn't
would
even
miss
pause
like
for the chest
18
pass.
chest passes.
Airballing them off to the side. One of them doesn't even make it.
They'd have,
there.
they'd have to retrieve the balls. I would use up all the balls.
It's
Missing.
Drew ran out of balls. Get him more balls. All right. Let's end this. We gave our ideas for the Olympics. I'm sorry if anybody was offended and doesn't like the Olympics or likes the Olympics. But I don't know. That's what we got. Anything else before we go?
That's it. Enjoy the All-Star festivities and keep watching those Olympics, nobody.
All right. You too, bud. I'll see ya.
See ya.